Chris Sewall here, baseball card collector, investor, dealer in that order. Welcome everyone. Regular Rollers time. Let's get rolling. We'll get started right after I mention that this week's list is brought to you by Greg Morris Cards. More on them coming up in just a bit. We'll start with one sent in by Andrew, who wrote, came across this listing and thought it was I'd share it as a warning. This clearly has fake written all over it. The listing is wrong. First of all, there is no 54 Topps mantle. That sticker looks suspicious, and this card is a reprint of a 54 Bowman, as it's impossibly sharp. To market as a reprint and then have people pay that much, that's their choice, but it's sad to see people get duped like this. Yeah, this is no question a fake, no doubt about it. The colors are way off, and a card's just this sharp, that just has red flags all over it. Back coloring is a little bit off as well. And yeah, it went for $479.50. The title says 1954 Topps Mickey Mantle. That's wrong, as again, it's not Topps and it's not an original card. 1954, all those words are wrong. So this will go to the eBay Authenticity Guarantee Program, get rejected, get returned to the seller, and the buyer will get refunded. This one was sent by Glenn, and he wrote, last week I was on Instagram and I came across a reel entitled Clips of Usain Bolt Being Nice to People. It was essentially a wonderful montage of moments of Bolt interacting with fans, Olympic volunteers, and the like, being kind, funny, and donating pieces of his sprinter's gear, like shoes, wristbands, etc. to them. I was struck how genuine and loving he seemed to be in these moments and instantly became a huge fan of his. Obviously, I've heard of Bolt before as a gold medal winner sprinter from Jamaica, but I hadn't realized he is basically the GOAT in the sport, winning 8 gold medals at various Olympics in the past decade plus. So I did some eBay searching and came across his 2008 Sports Illustrated for Kids rookie card. PSA 9s are fetching upwards of $500. With one PSA 10 sale found being in multiple thousands. This SGC 8.5 was the other highest out there, and I decided to make an offer. I ended up getting it for $105, $118 all in. It looks great for being a perforated card. It's a pop 7 with only 5 higher by SGC. Now I own a high-grade rookie copy of the greatest sprinter of all time, who also seems to be a great human being. This was sent in by AB, who wrote, I got an Alejandro Kirk Bowman first at a $250 for just $1.25. He had a 3.9 WAR last season in his first full season, being just 23 at the time, earned his first Silver Slugger. I thought this was a better investment than just a candy bar. Yeah, totally agree. I mean, I don't buy a lot of young players, but first Bowman Chrome refractors here, that's the way to go, or one of the ways to go for sure. And yeah, 4 WAR in a rookie season is a solid start. And this card usually sells for around $10, so I'm not sure what happened here, but you got a total bargain at $1.25 with free shipping. Next one was sent in by Matt, and this has to be one of the most annoying recent, scam tries on eBay, and that is junk wax era cards where people find slight print errors and call it some rare error and expect to get big bucks for it. This might be the all-time extreme example of that listing. A 1990 Topps Ken Griffey Jr. second-year cards worth maybe $1 or $2, and you can see all the circled areas, and they describe in the listing that these are all like special rare print errors, like the trophy error has an extra line on trophy, there's a mark on his nose, etc., etc., etc. It's the only card ever to have this many variations on the print, and therefore it's super rare, and he's asking $400,000 for it. That's beyond ludicrous. Again, this card is maybe worth $1 or $2. If you ever see anything like this at all, even if it's just one variation, and they're asking some sort of high price, don't even consider it. Print mistakes like this are just print errors from the factory. These almost never, and I mean basically never, add any value to the card whatsoever. They're just used by scam artists on eBay to try to trick newer people into believing that this is sort of rare variation, but again, it's not. Matt wrote about it. If you ever want to start a segment called Irregular Rollers, it could showcase ridiculous things like this $400,000 listing. Regrettably, when I tried to make an offer of 25 cents, eBay informed me that I could not make an offer less than 99 cents. Still not worth it. This was sent in by Grant, who wrote, in the history of the NFL, only 8 men have ever rushed for 2,000 yards in a season. 4 of them are in the Hall of Fame. Eric Dickerson, O.J. Simpson, Barry Sanders, and Terrell Davis. One of them will be in the Hall of Fame, and Adrian Peterson, and one of them, Derrick Henry, is still active. That leaves 2 men, Chris Johnson and Jamal Lewis. Jamal Lewis ran for 2,066 yards, which is 3rd all-time in 2003. That season, he was the NFL Offensive Player of the Year. It was the only Pro Bowl he would ever make. I was able to pick up this card, this 2-card lot, both rookies and graded by SGC, for $13.25, as the seller was Canadian, which equals 18 Canadian dollars all in. I'm under $20 for this order. His 2000 SPX RPA was the reason for the purchase, as it's one of his top cards. Although a 7.5 grade is not ideal, the grading fees for this card would be more than that, and then I would spend, which is also why I think this was a bargain. With NFL offenses utilizing mostly passing attacks as well as a more splitting time in the backfield than previous decades, it'll be difficult for anyone to rush for 2,000 yards in a season. Thus, the 8-man club should remain very small for a long time. I will add, no one has ever had 2 seasons of rushing for 2,000 yards. If Derrick Henry can somehow do that, that would be a special and certainly would increase his card values. This was sent in by Neil from Texas, who wrote, I think I possibly hit a good one on this eBay auction, but I want your opinion. I found this Jeff Bagwell rookie lot, and I PC Bagwell since I grew up in Texas, and as a kid, he was larger than life. Under the 7th picture, it looks like 3 Tiffany Bagwell rookies, but my research is showing that it's hard to distinguish between traded white backs and Tiffany's. Regardless, I'm pumped about the lot, but if they are Tiffany's, I plan to get them graded. Any info would be highly appreciated. Yeah, so you got a really nice pickup here. 75 Jeff Bagwell cards for $26, and most of them are rookie cards from 1991. That's a really good price, I would say. But looking over the tops, yeah, you've sort of nailed it. It's really hard to distinguish. Usually when you're looking at Tiffany's, trying to figure out Tiffany's, you can tell it's traded sets on the back because the Tiffany's will be sort of cream colored, whereas the bases will not. And that's what it appears to be going on here. But 1991 is an exception to that, as 1991 also had, like you said, 2 versions of the base. They had just like the base and then a white back version of the base, and then the Tiffany's look just like the white back. So from this picture, I cannot tell if these are Tiffany's. Chances are good that they are not, because the Tiffany's are just much rare. But yeah, hopefully get lucky here, and 1 or 2 or all 3 of them are. But regardless, it's a nice pickup for the price. This was sent by Philip, wrote, Zach Greinke seems like he is clearly on his way to the Hall of Fame once he retires, and he doesn't sign very much. Still, his autographs sell pretty cheap, especially compared to prospects and rookies who have not proved themselves at all. I didn't buy this particular one, but I have the same auto card, which I got in a trade for a non-auto Bobby Witt short print and $20. Yeah, totally agree. Zach Greinke, unless something really weird happens, he's going to make the Hall of Fame, and he does not have very many rookie cards, and he does not have very many autograph cards, and they're not particularly expensive. I think this is technically a second-year card. 2003 Bowman Auto, as he has some cards from 2002. But, given that he has so few rookie cards and earlier autograph cards, and he will make the Hall of Fame, that's sort of a good combination for, a card to hold its value or grow in value long-term down the road, generally at least. So I like your thinking. This was sent in by Ryan, who wrote, this is one of the better value card lots I've won in a while. For 160 Canadian dollars, I got the following cards: 4 Scott Niedermeyer rookies, 3 Sergei Fedorov rookies, including 2 French variations, 2 OPC Jagers, Curtis Joseph rookie, Mark Recchi rookie, Wendell Clark Topps rookie, Felix Potvin Upper Deck, 91 The Mask, Patrick Waugh, Pat Falloon rookie, Pavel Bury rookie, Austin Matthews rookie from 2015 OPC, arguably a top 5 player at the time. I will sell off the duplicates and keep the rest. I'll eventually break even quite easily. The OPC Premier rookies are the best available for those cards, and while the grades aren't incredible, the eye appeal is very strong. Yeah, this is a great lot. I would have bought this lot if I had seen it for this price. 160 Canadian dollars. I think that's like 120 US dollars or so. So you're talking $5 a card. You'll easily get $10 a card for these at a bare minimum. So if you wanted to sell it all, you would probably double your money without a whole lot of trouble. But if you want to keep a bunch of them for your PC, that's also a great idea, of course. Here's a card I've been tracking for a while. 1993 Topps traded Todd Helton rookie, graded PSA Gem Mint 10. And, Helton, to me, he's not somebody you would think of as like, oh, he's a definite Hall of Famer. But if you've been following the Hall of Fame voting over the last 5 years, he is tracking to clearly make the Hall of Fame almost surely next year. He got very close this year. And with Scott Rowland making it this year, sort of another borderline case, Helton seems like a very, very likely to make it next year. And this is his only rookie card here. This is the only one he's got. And that's a very undervalued thing about when you're sort of dealing with potential future Hall of Famers, like I mentioned with Zach Greinke. It's a big benefit if they have very few rookies. In this case, he only has 1 because there's not a lot of supply out there of the one card, even if it's a fairly common card, which this one is. But this card jumped in value quite a bit in the last month or two, and that's probably because people have been following the voting and can see exactly what I just said. He's almost surely going to make the Hall of Fame next year, unless obviously he might not, but that is definitely what's projecting to be the case. So this card really jumped. Usually it would jump right around the Hall of Fame voting when he sort of gets in unexpectedly, but now I don't think it's going to be unexpected next year. This card was selling quite comfortably for around $100. Again, it's not a common card. It's not a rare card, even in a PSA 10. You could pick it up for about $100, no problem, about 6 months ago. But it's really jumped since the Hall of Fame voting. This actually copy was sold for $191. So you can see this card's basically almost doubled in value, just because I'm assuming just because it's sort of becoming clear that he will probably make the Hall of Fame next year. The seller was Greg Morris Cards, who, as I mentioned at the beginning, is sponsoring this episode. And they're one of the premier sellers of sports cards on eBay. And I say all the time that their bread and butter is sort of raw vintage, but they really have, I mean, this is obviously more of a modern card, and it's a graded card, so they've got a little bit of everything, or I should say they have a lot of everything. They've been doing this a long time with just incredible feedback. I'm a customer of theirs as both a buyer and a seller, and they've recently started a YouTube channel which sort of focuses on the history of sports cards. A recent video discusses the most beautifully designed baseball card sets of all time. I recommend you give them a try, both their inventory and their YouTube channel. I've included links to both in the description below. This was sent by Greg, who wrote, on February 1st, ComC announced a partnership with CGC and CSG to submit raw cards for grading directly from the COMC platform. I decided to try an experiment, so I purchased a 1977 Wonder Bread Luke Skywalker from you on ComC and immediately sent it in for grading. I just got the CGC slab back today in my ComC inventory, and the CGC slab looks fantastic. I would not recommend sending all cards for grading, as it's hard to inspect raw cards online, but I'm happy how this turned out. I wish the grade was better, but a 6.5 is not bad for never holding the card. I relisted the card for sale, but will ship it back in a few months if I don't get any offers, and I'll keep it for my personal collection. That's really cool. Glad to hear you were happy with the card, and I'm a big fan of ComC. As I've mentioned a bunch on the channel, I use them a lot to buy and sell. And when I heard about the partnership with CSG or CGC in this case, I thought that was a really good service they're offering. It's not something I can't imagine that I would utilize much, as kind of like you said, it's really hard to estimate what a card's going to grade based on pictures, especially when you're talking about like modern cards at the high end level. Like the difference between an 8 and a 9 and a 10, you often just won't be able to tell in a picture. So that's going to be tough to sort of put to real good use, but it is a really nice service that they're offering. And this is a cool card. Luke Skywalker here. The Force is strong with this one. This was sent by Jared, who wrote, I like this purchase for several reasons. It's a serial numbered refractor of a probable Hall of Famer. It works for me as a PC card or a flip card. The Ravens have a big fan base, so it's easy to sell if needed for close to or maybe profit from what I paid. Cards like this are good grading candidates, although this one has some chipping on the back edges, so probably I wouldn't send it in. But I think $30, including taxes and shipping all in, is a good price point. I think mid-range prices like this are overlooked a lot. Sometimes people, myself included, don't want to spend hours in a dollar box looking for steals or deals or spend $1,000 on a card. I love this hobby, but it often feels like everything is either dirt cheap or a used Toyota Camry. Good to find the middle sometimes. Yeah, I totally agree. Mentioned a bunch on the channel. Football in particular, if you're looking for, and you just dodge quarterbacks, get some great price. I mean, Terrell Suggs, Bowman Chrome refractor here, 20-year-old card of a future Hall of Famer, under $30. I mean, just imagine if this was a quarterback, this would be many, many, many hundreds of dollars. So I like your thinking here. And we'll finish on a vintage bargain. This was sent by Jason, who wrote, I'm currently living overseas and I'm unable to actively participate in the hobby, so I vicariously stay connected through your viewers' submissions on regular rollers. Discovering a great find, especially when it has a personal story, is my favorite part of the hobby, and regular rollers allows me to be a part of a community who shares the same love. Personally, I collect cards for my kids of athletes who have meaningful stories. One of those athletes is Louis Zamperini, who was recently made popular again with the movie Unbroken. An individual card of this American hero was never made, but a little research revealed that there is a card that is closely related to him. Zamperini competed in the 5,000 meters at the 1936 Olympics, and thankfully a card was made featuring that race. He is not clearly seen in the photo, but we're okay with that. Lastly, we have, with the recent popularity of the Jesse Owens cards in the set, many of their cards have made their way to eBay and are sold for just a few dollars. In my opinion, it's a chance for a great find of a hidden gem of American history. But that's it for this week's Regular Rollers. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Thank you for all the great submissions, and may the Force be with you. Thanks, everyone.